Sairam, and a most loving welcome to each and every one of you to Sai Teachings 100, a special series that celebrates the 100th birthday of our beloved Bhagawan, Sri Sathya Sai Baba. This series is a valuable opportunity for all of us to come together as a spiritual family, united by the boundless love and teachings of Swami. As we celebrate the 100th years of His divine presence in this world, we pause to reflect on the profound wisdom He has shared with us and the immeasurable impact His love has made in our lives. Swami's birthday is not only a time of celebration, but also a moment to deepen our connection with Him and to renew our commitment to walking the path of truth, love, and selfless service. Baba makes it clear that the service we do is for our own sake. Naturally, we want to help others, but the real value of the service lies in what it does for us, provided we do it with the right attitude. As a spiritual discipline, selfless service helps us to control the purity of the mind, put a ceiling on our desires, erase our karmic burden, remove the ego, bring love into our lives, experience the unity of all, become aware of God within all, win the grace of God. Well, today we are incredibly blessed to hear from Brother Krishna, a devoted follower of Swami from Auckland. He moved to New Zealand from Fiji in 1987. Brother Krishna has been walking the spiritual path of Swami for many, many years. Brother Krishna has chosen to speak on the theme of service, which touches the deepest part of our hearts as seekers of truth. This is a theme that resonates profoundly with many of us in the spiritual path, reminding us of the divine presence that guides us, the love that sustains us, and the wisdom that illuminates our way. It's a theme that invites us to reflect on our own lives and deepen our connection to Swami. Those presence is always with us, even when unseen. Before we dive into the topic that Brother Krishna will share with us, let us take a moment to get to know him better. Brother Krishna, we would love to hear more about your personal journey with Swami. Would you share with us a cherished memory of Swami that has stayed with you through the years? What is it that most deeply connects you to the Swami's divine presence? And how has his guidance shaped your life and your path? And especially the responsibility for organizing the logistics side of the Fiji medical camp that has been happening for years and years.
Yeah, I offer my pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagawan. And I thank him that he has chosen this body to be one of the contemporaries of the Lord. Loving Sairam to all our listeners. I'm very grateful that Brother Gulab, our National Medical Coordinator, has taken this initiative during this 100th year of the advent of the avatar to interview or get some more ideas and more informations and more sharings from 100 people, devotees, during this commemoration. I must say that I was blessed from the very young age, and being the eldest son in the family, my late father has shown me the path of saving the needy within our own family circuit and also in the village where we lived in. But I must also admit that we are not aware of what really selfless service meant. It was most like an expectation of some reward or seva in return. I didn't attend any science center in Fiji while we were there, but upon migration in 1987, we came, and then 1988, I started to go to Mount Eden Center. That's the center that we came to know. But it was like a passing time. I wasn't interested, maybe once in 2 months like that. So I dragged on some good 4 to 5 years like that. But in 1992, both of us tried to get more involved. And in 1993 and 94 Christmas period, we went to Prashanti, even though I was not interested in going, but my wife wanted to go. So I had to accompany her to Prashanti. As you all know that when you go there, you see people giving letters. So I also wrote some letters and gave to Swami. We stayed there 18 days. On the 17th day, I actually challenged Swami. I said, Swami, I've been touching your feet on the photos, all this. If you're a true God, I would like to touch your real feet. Brothers and sisters, on that morning darshan, he came right in front of me and stood in front of me, his robes touching my feet. I had no opportunity to bow down and kiss his feet or whatever, but just to put my hands and get the blessings. For me, that was the chapter, a new chapter beginning. Before that, my habits were different, as most of us gone through. But after that, I came back and I joined the center as a service convener. So I took the role as a center service convener for 2 years. Later on, I moved on to the regional position, regional service convener, because I wasn't a good singer. I couldn't sing. I wasn't a good teacher to go and teach or take part in the SSC classes. So hands-on job was basically what I loved. And so this regional service convener's role was a newly appointed, created wings in the northern region, or in New Zealand actually. So I took on the role as a regional service convener for northern region, which I served for 1 year. And the second year, I was then asked to take on the role of a national service convener, as our national service convener vacated the role. So this took me good 9 years, where I served. As I was going on this path, I was attending all these conferences, conventions, workshops, through study circles, and of course, Swami's discourses on service and other related topics. This was my journey. His teachings are very simple and can be understood. And all we need is to put into practice and become a role model. As Swami's organization, his main purpose is to help one realize one's own divinity by the practice of divine love through selfless service. He made it very clear that the quality of service is most important and not the quantity. Constant evaluation as to, is it really a service of need or of service of convenience? What is the spirit behind the seva is the deciding factor. When saving, we must feel that we are saving God. The other most important lesson that I learned from the service activity, which can be identified by two characteristics: the compassion and the willingness to sacrifice. And this compassion is what I accept, and I think I have that compassion for seva. And this compassion has been taking me towards Fiji. 2006 to 2024, we have been going to Fiji, except for the 2-year period during the pandemic for the medical camp. And upon that, we went to Philippines. I think it was in 2012 with the medical team. And last year, I went to East Africa, Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. part of the medical team just as a general volunteer, I must say that that trip was really an eye-opener for me. Fiji camps is nothing, but the real need, the real pain, the cry of the devotees that I saw, it was really an eye-opener for me. And this year, I have already booked myself to go to Madagascar for the medical camp, again, as a volunteer. So, as brother, you have asked about the medical camp. 2006, we went about 28 of us to Vanuatu. This is my hometown. And so 2007, I was then asked by then Brother Douglas and Dr. Dinesh to do all the logistics of the camp. Because I'm from that island, so communicating with devotees or members of the public where we could do camps, that made me a bit more easier. And of course, in Vitelevu, I spent most of my time in Lautoka. So that is also a familiar area. There's lots and lots to be, because as a leader, when organizing all these logistics, we have to be very thorough, tick all the boxes, because if one thing is failed, then the whole team fails during that camp. And I think it was in the third camp, I had a dream of Swami. He said, make sure everything is organized properly. I was checking all my things and all the logistics of it, but not sure because I was communicating my counterpart in Vitelevu as to when the supplies that we are sending, all the medicines from here to Nandi, and from Nandi they were sending it to Vanuatu by CDP or whatever mode they got to freight. Upon our arrival in Lambasa, during the medical camp, we found out that our supplies haven't arrived, but the team has gone. And that's hit back to me what Swami's dream was all about. So from that on till now, I make sure I thoroughly check and organize. We are very blessed that we have been expanding this to non-sign devotees. You will have all sorts of people with all sorts of ideas. Mm-hmm. But because we are only going once a year, we cannot make a huge changes. But from 2007, I would say, we have made lots and lots of changes, refine our programs and the camps, and we can say we are very proud of it now. With this idea, because we have been doing in Fiji, that was the request for us to go to East Africa with the medical team. So there, I was in the front line again with the registration team, looking after the crowd. It was a bit of a panic to me because of the huge crowd, but nevertheless, Swami's grace has been there to look after it. So more or less, that was about the medical camp. We have all those videos out, and if people are interested, we do have some copies in Sai House. Baba always cautions us about major obstacles that stand in the way of selfless service. And that is ahamkara, which is ego, and mamakara, the attachment, the feeling of doership and enjoyship. Remember, when ego comes, then he goes. If one word that I could sum up Swami's message and teachings, that word is love. His life is his message, and his message is love. Love all and save all. Selfless service is perhaps one of the single most efficient and universal tool for understanding, expressing, and experiencing his divine principle of love. I always take the opportunity of service because a single act of service comes as a gift from God. I have made my changes because I think we had 2 interviews with Swami. I know in the second interview, he said that he asked my wife, "Where is your husband?" And I was sitting next to him, next to her. And Swami said, "Yes, I know he's a big man and short-tempered." So that anger in me has now almost, I'm not saying 100%, but it is more than 60, 70%, I could say, that it has come down now. And I'm not making any excuses for not doing service. I take part and have that compassion and that love, because in the organization, that another beauty of the organization is, as a leader, whether in a project or anything, you lead from the front. We are not in the army where we say the army comes in front and the commander stays behind. So that's the beauty of it. Swami said that group service is very important. He gave an example like a garland. A garland has so many flowers. We cannot pinpoint and say this flower looks better than the other one. If we have a smell, there is a one uniform smell of the garland. So like that, he is always encouraging, because then we may not, if we do it individually, then that ego and that attachment part comes in. In the medical camp preparation, it's not only me that I'm doing all it, the whole team. We now have allocated each department leaders, and the leaders make their own preparation. All I have to do is oversee that things are done. That is all I can say. So before I finish, Brother Gulab, finally I would like to acknowledge our past devotees who have helped me through this process. Of course, our beloved Bhagawan himself, the Lord himself, my late father. And while all these activities, Sai activities in New Zealand, Brother Richard Wallace, Uncle Muru, Douglas Saunders, Hasita, who was the first person to acknowledge me and give a role as a center service convener at Mount Eden Center. And from 2006 till now, with Dr. Dinesh Lal, who is our international medical coordinator, that we have been working very closely with all our medical camps and going overseas in whatever, like the Philippines and East Africa, and this year again in Madagascar, that we will have been. So I'm very blessed that these people have been supporting, and I have been learning, and I'm sure I will pass on these messages and become a role model to others as well. Thank you, and Jai Sairam.
Thank you, Brother Krishna, for that beautiful and heartfelt sharing. Your words are a testament to the power of Swami's love, and we are grateful to you for reminding us of how his presence continues to inspire and transform us. From your memory of Swami resonates with your soul, offers us all the glimpse into the intimate and personal bond we can each develop with him. Sairam Krishna, and thank you very much.
Sairam.
Sairam.